Hi, I'm Chuck Carter with NicholsSurfShop.com. Today we're going to be covering a simple ding repair to get you back out in the water. Today in our simple repair we're going to be using SunCure, which this little tube here is a great quick fix to get you back out in the water. It has fiberglass shreds in it to where this is a liquid to where it still kicks off by the UV rays as the catalyst. But for here, you have strengthen your fibers. It's a fill, and you can fill your ding and get you right back out in the water. This is if you're using the cloth to saturate the cloth, and then there's also epoxy resins and different types of catalysts you can use with the MEKP that hardens the resin for your repair. So today we're going to do the simplest of ding repairs, and we're going to be using the one with the fiber in it. Stir stick, which we're going to use today for not stirring in a cup the resin, but we're going to be using it to manipulate it into the damaged area to get the resin to the right area and also to get rid of any type of air bubbles before the resin kicks off and hardens. So stir stick is really good to manipulate the resins. In this kit it does come with the stir stick. Gloves, really good to have. And then with the sandpaper, you have different grits of sandpaper to accomplish different tasks. 100 sandpaper, which will be listed on the back what number grit it is. That's a good standard all-around sandpaper. So what we're doing today is a quick fix. 100 is a great thing to knock down your repair after you're done so it's smooth and you don't have any bumps or cut your hands on the sharp edges when you have your completed ding. A few other tools you'll need is a sharp razor blade. And then if you have it, a Dremel tool will be very helpful in prepping the board out. One of the final tools that we're going to be using is wax paper, which I'll be showing later, but it is quite a helpful tool. You can get it at any store or go into your mom's kitchen cabinet, grab out the wax paper. So that covers the tools and materials we'll be using today. Now all we need is a ding. So we need a ding locating device. So we found our ding. If you don't have one of these ding locating devices, you can use a lead pipe or any other blunt instrument. Now you can see that we've moved inside. The materials we'll be using today are UV activated for hardening. So when you're using this material, you have days to work on it inside, but as soon as you take it outside, it will start hardening, and it gets to your final hardening stage in about 10 minutes. Next thing we'll be doing is prepping the board, making sure that there's no water in there, sand, debris, broken fiberglass, and getting the area prepped to go to our next stage. So what you need to do is you need to use a razor blade and a piece of sandpaper. If you don't roughen up your area where you're applying the resin, it will not have anything to grab a hold of. What you need to do is rough up that area, and if you just leave it the regular board or a gloss coat on there, you can flake it off with your fingernail or pick it off with a razor blade and it'll fall right out. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to get rid of any debris or fiberglass that's stressed out in that area and clean out the area, and then take a piece of sandpaper and roughen up that area so the resin has a good bonding surface. You can get right in there and dig into the board because the new resin that you're going to be putting in there will fill in all the gaps. Using the point of the razor blade gets it down into the nooks and crannies to where the sandpaper might not reach to certain areas. So just want to go through, break up any area that is stressed out. Now you can see that I've put on safety glasses. Anytime you're working with fiberglass, you don't want anything flying up into your face or eyes. So if you have sunglasses or safety glasses, it's a good idea. So what we're going to be doing now is roughing up that area so the resin will stick and adhere to it. So you want to get all the edges and loose fiberglass debris, and then come out about, say, like a 1/16 of an inch. If you don't have a razor blade, to do what we did previously, you can just use the sandpaper to roughen it up to where the resin will bond to it. You want to go out about a 1/16 of an inch wider, and you can even go wider than that because this is just a quick fix and you can always straighten it up a little bit later. As you're doing this sanding, make sure that you aren't going to get your fingers cut on the loose fiberglass debris because it doesn't feel good. So now what we're going to do is apply the SunCure resin to our damaged area. Make sure you have all your materials and tools ready. You have your resin, your stir stick, and your wax paper. With your wax paper, you want this a larger area than what your repair is so it doesn't overflow. So we're going to go ahead and take the lid off. In the top of your lid is a puncturing device to where you can puncture the SunCure tube. And you can start applying the resin into your damaged area. Applying the resin with the fiberglass shreds in it has it to where it's a putty type effect, and you have plenty of time to work with this. You want to overfill just by a little bit of your damaged area. Then manipulate it with your popsicle stick, pressing it down into all the nooks and crannies and making sure there's no air bubbles. If you get an air bubble in it, it'll make it to where it could pop and leak water into that area again. So we need a little bit more on here. The wax paper we're going to use is going to smooth all this lumpiness out, press out air bubbles, and get it smooth and ready to sand. So place your wax paper over the top of it, push it into the ding. If you feel any dips, you can take the wax paper back out, squirt more in that area, put the wax paper back down, pressing out the air bubbles. Now we're ready to take it out into the sun to have it start kicking off, and you leave the wax paper on when you take it out to the sun. After it dries time, 10 minutes, we'll be taking the wax paper off. Now we'll be taking the board out into the sun for the 10-minute hardening time. We will be leaving the wax paper on the board for this time. After the 10 minutes, we'll be taking the wax paper off, ready to sand the board smooth. The sun has done its job by hardening the resin, and we're going to go ahead and take the wax paper off, and then we're ready to sand. You don't have to come back inside. You can sand this outside if you need to. Okay, with sanding, basically you're getting down any rough spots, but so you don't cut your hands and the edges are all smooth. You can change your direction on the sandpaper to grab onto the edges of the repair so that the sandpaper takes it down quicker. And all we're doing is knocking it down a little bit. Doesn't really have to be a pretty job. All we're doing is sealing it up and making it to where we aren't getting cut and the board isn't getting damaged any further. It's also more important when you have a damaged area on your surfboard on the nose, tail, or rail to get those spots smoothed out more so you don't cut yourself when you're out in the lineup. So that's a real basic ding repair to get you back out in the surf to catch a few more good waves. Look for future episodes for more complex repairs. As always, check us out at the web at nicholssurfshop.com for surf report, surf lessons, and more. See you next time. Bam!